As we get closer to Election Day, what you can do to make sure your ballot is not rejected. Archit Seshadri reports from our Atlanta bureau.
It's the last week of early voting here in Georgia, and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says nearly 3 million Georgians have already cast their ballots with record voter turnout. He expects that by the end of this week, another 1 million people will cast their ballots, and he says if you haven't already, make a voting plan because the lines on Election Day will be long.
That's why we like to let voters, it will take longer to vote. They say, why does it take longer? Because we are still under COVID restrictions. Those restrictions and making sure things are disinfected just take additional time.
He says we're also in the middle of a pandemic, so expect long lines because many of these poll workers are first-time poll workers.
Those plexiglass dividers, then people will be wearing gloves, be wearing masks, and we're encouraging you as a voter, to wear a mask. If you are invincible and you don't think you'll ever get COVID, would you still please wear a mask? Because many of our poll workers are not invincible, but they're coming out because they understand how important it is to make sure that your vote does count.
We also reached out to the Secretary of State and asked him, what about the rejected ballots? And he said that's because many folks who are returning it don't sign their absentee ballots or there's a mismatch in the signature.
We've had 1 million ballots come in and be accepted. Only 429 have been rejected. But what happens in those situations is you have to go, the county will contact you directly and say there's an issue with your absentee ballot. You need to come and cure it.
But in the last election, it was about 1%. We would expect it to be in that same range, very small percentage.
And cure it is basically means come in and fix it. Come in and sign it, bring an ID to say, yes, this is me, and then allows your ballot to be counted.
The Secretary of State says there is a Ballot Tracks website that'll track the status of your absentee ballot, and you have until the Friday after Election Day to fix it if your absentee ballot was rejected. Reporting outside the Georgia State Capitol, Archit Seshadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief.